Good morning, Kathy from Creating a Simpler Life here, and today I just want to take some time to talk about the kind of house that we're building. The house that we're building is unconventional, and a lot of people have expressed a lot of interest in trying to understand why we chose to build this type of house. First of all, the type of house that we're building is called an earth-sheltered house. It's not a cave, but it is sort of underground. Now, ours will not be completely underground, but it will be basically under 3 feet of soil. And I'd like to tell you our reasons why. First of all, a lot of people talk about building a forever house. I guess you could call this a forever house for my husband and myself, but I would prefer to refer to it as the rest of our life house, because we're planning this home as our retirement home. We're both in our 50s. I'm going to be 52 literally days from now, and my husband's 55 already. And we're planning this house for our retirement. So we're very carefully looking at all of the things that it takes to maintain the house, because we know that when we retire upstate in the Adirondack Mountains, we're going to be living on a fairly low fixed income. Luckily for us, we'll have an income, a small retirement, but it's not going to be a lot of money. So we're going to need to make that money stretch. So it might be initially a little bit more money to build this earth-sheltered house in the beginning, but in the long run, it should really be very, very good for us. The home is basically a dome shape that gets covered with earth. It's a very small home. The square footage is less than 1,000 feet on the first floor. It's only 1 bedroom, so it's a very small footprint in that respect, which also means that it's very economical and affordable to upkeep a small kitchen, a small dining room, a small living room. There is a small second floor, but it's really just a sleeping loft. 2 bathrooms, because the master bedroom does have its own bathroom, and then we have another bathroom for guests. So the first reason we want to build the earth-sheltered house is because of the maintenance of it. If this is built properly with the cement and the way that the structure is created, it's basically very minimal to no maintenance. There's no roofing that would need to be replaced. There's really minimal, if any, siding to be replaced. So we won't have to worry about that. The house itself should literally last 100 years, which is basically going to outlive us. So that's really good in 2 ways. 1, as we get older, we won't have the ability to do it ourselves. And 2, we won't really need to pay somebody else to come in and do it because it won't need to be done. Those are things that we definitely need to think about down the road when you're living on a fixed income. The other reason, and the really, really big reason why earth-sheltered is really good, is energy efficiency. The idea behind the earth-sheltered house is it should, theoretically, maintain a temperature of between 55 degrees and 75 degrees year-round. So in the middle of the winter in the Adirondacks, when it gets way below zero, if the house maintains a 55-degree temperature, we don't have to heat it very much. So where some people with a conventional home have to heat it from whatever the cold temperature is out up to a comfortable temperature of maybe 70 degrees, 68 to 70, we will only have to heat it from 55. So it really will not require much heat. And again, in the summertime, it should really maintain approximately 75 degrees. It may be colder than 75 degrees. We're really not sure, but those are the ranges that it's supposed to be. So that should save a tremendous amount of money for the fuel for heating, and it should also save for not needing to keep the home cool in the summer. So it's super efficient. It should have a really small footprint with respect to how much propane we might need to use. I'm looking right now at the energy.gov website. It's the United States Department of Energy, and they have a whole page on their website, I'll link to it in the description below, about efficient earth-sheltered homes. They also talk about bermed homes, but a bermed home just has soil on the sides, not on the roof. So that's another option. We chose to go with soil on the sides and the roof. Now, here's another reason why I really like the idea of this home. It is very, very safe. It's practically fireproof because it's under 3 feet of earth. It is basically earthquake proof. It's tornado proof. It can withstand very high winds. So insurance should be cheaper. Some of the things that are disadvantages to this kind of home. One, people think that it is like living in a cave and there's not a lot of light. But the way that we have designed the floor plan, basically every main room in the house, and that's the kitchen, the dining room, the living room, and the master bedroom, and of course the loft, has access to the south side of the house. So the south side of the home will face to the south and be all open with windows. And that light that comes in those windows should be available for the kitchen, the living room, the dining room, and the master bedroom, so that you don't feel like you're in a cave per se. As far as getting light into some of the other rooms that may not be exposed to those front south facing windows, I have some ideas on that. Maybe some glass block walls in between like the master bedroom and the master bathroom to get the light into the master bathroom. Another negative, besides the lighting, is the exits out. Normally, it's just a big dome, and the only exit out of the dome would be the south-facing side of the house, which they normally consider the front. For us, we're designing it so that that's the back of the house, facing south, and we will have an entrance out the north side of the dome. So for us, we're not digging into the ground. For a lot of earth-sheltered houses, they're digging down into the ground. We're really not doing that. We're going to put the earth over top of it. So we'll have more than just that one exit. I need to feel secure in the fact that there are different ways out of the home. So far we have the lighting and the exits. The last negative about the earth-sheltered house is the air quality. Think about your basement. Your basement is usually cool year-round, but it can have moisture build up. So because of the design of this earth-sheltered house, there is the potential for the moisture to build up, for the air to get kind of stale. So one of the big things when you buy this kit, and it is a kit by the way, is that it comes with a ventilation system so that it's constantly monitored and maintained so that we can have good fresh air. So all those negatives I talked about, we found ways to make it so that there's no negatives, or that they're not negatives for us. This earth-sheltered house has been in the plans now for many years. I've gone through a lot of different styles. I've looked at a lot of different ways of the construction and the building it. I finally settled on the one that we want. It is a kit that you buy. I don't think that they could make it any easier with the instructions. There are many, many homes out there exactly like what we're doing. We're just doing it on a really small scale and making a few modifications, designing the interior the way that we want it for what we need. So again, to recap, we're building the earth-sheltered house. It will be covered with 3 feet of dirt. It will have south-facing windows for passive solar gain in the winter. We're going to work on how to block that solar gain in the summer so that the inside of the home does not heat up. We're building this home because it's super safe from weather. That should make insurance a lot less expensive. The house itself should last about 100 years with very little maintenance, so that's going to save a lot of money and be really good for us to grow old in. And it shouldn't need much energy to heat it or cool it through the winters and the summers. It should maintain a pretty good temperature. Even 55 degrees, if you think about it in the winter, is not awful. It's completely doable, and even with a wood stove, there should be no reason with a small footprint of under 1,000 square feet that we can't heat the inside of that home really easily on our own. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned. I'm just going to do a quick little video with some music on how I built the model, and you can get a better idea of what we're planning to do and what we're planning to build. So thank you very much and enjoy.